Hi, I'm Dan McHale with SRI Collegiate Search, and welcome to Minutes with McHale. I am thrilled to have Amy Beggin from University of New Mexico, the Associate AD for Compliance, join the show. Amy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, great time of year. A lot of college basketball going on the men's and women's side. Just a lot of fun. So appreciate you taking a couple minutes to dive into your career path and just kind of talk about all things college athletics. Tell me about your current role at UNM and kind of what your main responsibilities are.
Yeah, so right now I'm the Associate AD for Compliance at the University of New Mexico, also our interim SWA and our Deputy Title IX Coordinator. So get to work a lot with students and coaches, which is a lot of fun and involved in a lot of the sports as well. So very blessed to be able to be here.
That's great. No, I know you've had obviously a great career in athletics, starting from when you were a standout player at UNM and into the coaching world, and now leading the charge in the athletic department. Just kind of tell me about your journey a little bit. How did you get started in college athletics, and who kind of gave you your first job?
Yeah, I was very blessed. Took kind of a unique path. I was a student athlete at UNM, played basketball there. Right after my playing career, I got into the coaching field. And so I went to South Dakota State University, which was close to home. I grew up in Minnesota and got to learn from one of the best in the business, and Aaron Johnston, who just takes his team to NCAA tournament every single year. So got to learn from him as a graduate assistant, and then had the opportunity to come back to UNM. The assistant coach that I played for was named the head coach, Yvonne Sanchez. And so she created a position for me as the video coordinator. So came back and worked on her staff for 5 years as video coordinator, director of operations, and assistant coach. And then through the process, kind of wanted something a little different and moved over to the administration side and got into compliance. So it's been a different journey, but it's been a really cool one and unique one as well. And really enjoy that I've had the student athlete, the coaching experience, and the administration experience as well.
Yeah, no doubt. That's obviously extremely well rounded, having all your hand in kind of all of it. There's a lot of kids today where they played college sports or involved in the athletic department. They want to get into college athletics. It's an amazing business. Kind of looking back at your career, what advice would you give to some young college graduate that wants to get into college athletics and specifically the compliance piece a little bit, if you could talk about that?
Yeah, I think it's a lot about who you know and kind of willing to do anything. I just reached out of the blue when I was done playing and right before graduation to Aaron Johnston at South Dakota State because I had remembered him through the recruiting process and really liked how he, was approaching me, the things he sent. And so I just reached out and said, do you know anybody that's has a position open? And he said, actually, I do. And so, went, and that's how I got in and just, but I think just being willing to do the little things, not being too good for anything, being willing to turn the lights on in the gym or put the balls out or, just do the little things, clean tables, like whatever it is, just to get your foot in the door and to gain experience. I am very fortunate that I've got to do a lot of different things, and I enjoy that because then I know what it's like. And as you keep moving up, you remember the little things that got you there and what it takes to be successful. So I think continuing to build a network and just being willing to do anything.
Yeah, no, great advice. I echo those statements exactly. Being a sponge and just listening, more than speaking at a young age, I think goes a long way. And being willing to do anything. You see some of the most successful coaches and administrators out there. They started at the ground level, and it's fun to see everyone's success by just working hard and being a good person. Kind of takes me to our next topic. Being a former student athlete, like you talked about, a great one at that, and a coach and now an administrator. What do you think the biggest challenges student athletes are dealing with right now? Obviously, with everything going on in college athletics, what have you seen? I know you work day in, day out with these student athletes, and they're constantly coming by your office. What do you kind of think the biggest challenges are these days?
I think there's a couple main ones. One is NIL,
Yeah.
and just how to navigate that field, how to navigate being a student, trying to make money, and continuing to be an athlete as well. So I think that's a big one, is just navigating that space and not letting that get too big. Another one is mental health. It's obviously been on the forefront everywhere. It's a lot different than when I played. It wasn't talked about when I played. It wasn't, you never went and saw anybody. You just, toughed it out. And I think, we have a lot of student athletes from lots of different backgrounds, and they come to us and trying not to fit them in the same mold, but really try to help them with resources and skills and things like that to help them. And obviously one that's been, a challenge forever is just time management. How do you balance being a student athlete, being, just everything that comes along with being a college student, and then being a athlete on top of that. So I think those are probably the three biggest things.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's changing, and NIL's here for good. Being a former player that you were, what do you think? I mean, if used in the right way, NILs are great for student athletes. It's just right now there are really just no rules, and we're still kind of at the early thoughts of it. What do you think about NIL, and where do you see it going?
Yeah, I think the concept of NIL is fantastic. I think student athletes should be able to make money, especially because there's the market that is there for it. I think the hard part, as you mentioned, is what are the rules around it? We can't lose focus that getting an education is the most important thing in all of this. And, and the integrity of the sport and the athlete as well is hard. And we've seen some cases like that. So, but again, the market is there for it. I think the student athletes bring money into the institution and bring excitement and, really help the community. So I think in general, the principle of it is great.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's great for these student athletes to capitalize on their name, their image, or likeness. Kind of backing up to one more thing I want to talk about. In my opinion, I think one of the biggest challenges is social media, and it wasn't around when you were playing to the extent it was today. I'm sure there were message boards here and there, but nowadays, a student athlete has a good game or a bad game, and you see social media, whether it's a fan or whomever, it's become a distraction, right? You wake up the next day and you see in your mentions, whether it's such and such hit a great shot, and now maybe his or her ego is inflated, or the other end is someone such and such missed a game winner, and now they have to deal with it all day. So I think that kind of goes back to the mental health aspect, where social media these days have really plays a different role in the student athlete experience.
Yeah, it really does. When I was playing, it was Facebook, and it was
Yeah.
not fan interaction,
Right.
And so I think it is really hard. Obviously there's great things with social media and promotion of your teams and your athletes and things like that, especially when you're talking about the NIL space. But like you said, too, there also is the negative aspect of it. And a lot of it is just trying to educate our student athletes on how to use it for your benefit, but also not to get too involved in it or too wrapped up in it. And fans, are very passionate, and they can take it too far a lot of times. I think sometimes fans forget that these are just young kids, young adults, and they're playing a game. They're not, and at the end of the day, it is a game, and that's all it is. And so it is really hard. And we just try to keep emphasizing to them, be involved in it, but don't let it overtake you or overwhelm you or, let you get too high or too low.
No, absolutely. It's something that is here, and the more we can educate our student athletes, the better, like you said. So, well, good, Amy. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I know we're in the middle of March Madness right now. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys are enjoying it in New Mexico. We sure are as well here, and I really appreciate you coming on.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, great. Well, I am Dan McHale with SRI Collegiate Search. This is Amy Beggin from the University of New Mexico, and we will see you soon.